Obsidian is a free app that is primarily designed for notes, but thanks to its flexibility, it can be shaped into whatever tool you need. But with great flexibility comes great complexity. It can be intimidating when you first open up that settings menu and see all the different options that you have. In this video, I'm going to explain what each of the settings do so you can be confident in setting up Obsidian just the way you want. To open up the settings in Obsidian, you go down to this little gear icon in the bottom left. The first settings you're going to see are just the general settings, version numbers, allow automatic updates, change the language, go to the help menu. Obsidian is free, but they also offer some paid services that you can create an account for down here at the bottom. The next tab we come to is the editor settings. This setting will make it so that anytime you open up a new tab, it will focus on that new tab. The default view for the new tabs is editing view. You can also make it so that it's just a reading view, so you can't edit it. I like to be able to edit right away. Default editing mode is live preview. So what this does is when you are editing a file, it will show you what that markdown syntax will look like when it's rendered. So right now I click on this, it shows up this little hashtag. This hashtag is what you do for a heading. So if you go back into the settings and we say we want it to be source mode, it will show that markdown syntax all the time. Showing the editing mode in the status bar, it will show what the editing mode is, this little icon at the bottom. You can have a readable line length, so this will wrap the text. If I turn this off and then I write something really long, it'll go right to the edge of the screen. If I turn it on, it gives me a little bit extra space. The strict line break setting, really not sure what this is meant to do. I haven't noticed any difference in the reading view when I have this on or off. Properties are a way of adding metadata to your files, to your notes, and this allows you to be able to make them visible, hidden, or show the source view. Let me really quickly show you what properties look like. So if at the top of this, I do these 3 dashes, it brings up properties, and I can add different metadata to the notes. So let's say we're adding a tag of productivity to this. The settings, I can make this hidden, so now you no longer see the properties at the top. I can also make these source, so you'll see the source code for those properties. This is what it looks like just in the markdown. Fold heading makes it so that you can collapse things underneath headings. So going back to our markdown cheat sheet, you get these little arrows next to it, the left-hand side. You can toggle these to collapse everything underneath those headings. Fold indent does the same thing as headings, but for things like bullets. So this bullet has a nested item, so I can collapse that bullet list. Show line number will show the line number in the left-hand side, so you know what line number you're on. Indentation guides will give you a little line next to the indentation. So for instance, you can see here, this is a nested item. The indentation guide is this little line here that shows there is an indent. Right to left will change the text going from right to left. A spell check will turn on the spell checker for you. This is really useful if you tend to misspell words. You can auto pair brackets and markdown syntax. So for instance, if I want to type a quote, I just type the first quote and it'll automatically end it. So now I have quotes here. The brackets as well here. So they'll automatically pair so that you don't have to worry about ending the brackets. Smart indent lists will automatically indent based on the previous line's indentation. So if I wanted to add another item to this nested list, I could hit enter here and it will indent the same as the line above. Indent using tabs. So tabs and spaces are technically different. And if you want to be able to have your tabs be the actual tabs instead of spaces, this is what this setting is for. So when you have this on a tab, when I tab over, it will count it as if it's just like one character, so I can jump between the beginning of that tab and the end of the tab. When you have that off, the tabs, when you tab over, will be individual spaces, so I can move through those individual spaces. And you can change the number of spaces that the indent that the tab will give you. You can have it auto-convert HTML, so when you're copying something from a web page, it will automatically when you paste it in, it'll automatically update it to Markdown. If you are a programmer and you like to program using Vim on your command line, you can have Vim commands, Vim key bindings. You can turn those on here. Moving on to files and links, you can have it confirm whether or not you want to delete a file when you're deleting it. You can have it delete those files, move them to your system trash, or a specific Obsidian trash, or you can permanently delete them. When you are updating note titles, this setting will automatically update any links that you have to those notes. You can specify where you want your default location of your notes to be. You can have this just be your vault folder, or you can specify a specific folder, or you can have it as the same folder of whatever file you're currently working in. This talks about creating paths between notes when you're creating links between things. I usually like to stick with the shortest path possible, but you can also make it so that it's relative to the file. So like if you have a file in one folder and you're linking to another folder, the path will be the full path up to the top level that they're at, and then over and down, or you can have it be absolute path based on the vault, so it'll start from the vault level and go down. So the shortest path, when possible, will pick between those options which one is the shorter path. You can change how you want your backlinks to be formatted. Use WikiLinks, it'll be the double brackets. If you turn this off, you use the same markdown syntax you use for external links. An external link looks like this, where you have single brackets and then parentheses to where that link will take you. You can make it so that it will show any files in the file system. Even if Obsidian can't bring that file up, you can still see it within Obsidian. You can specify where you want things like images, PDFs. You can specify where you want those to be saved. Here you can exclude certain files from showing up in like your search results or your graph view. For me, I have a bunch of different templates that I use, and I don't want those to show up in my search because they're just templates. So you can go in and you can add a whole folder. So in my case, it'd be /templates, and then you can have anything within the templates folder will not show up in your search results. You can choose a different folder for your configs to go into. Appearance allows you to be able to change the look and feel of your vault. And this is nice because all of these settings, by the way, are specific to the vault that you're working in. So if you have multiple vaults, you can have different looks, different settings, depending on what you're using that vault for. So here's where you can change from light to dark mode. And you can change what the accent color looks like. So if I wanted to have this be blue instead of this orange color that I've chosen, I can go in and kind of maybe like this lighter blue color. And now that accent color appears here. I'm going to go back to this orange that I had, like orange. You can do different themes for your vault. Right now I have a theme based on my favorite task management app called Things. So if I click here and manage, you can search for different themes that community members have created and made available here. You can show dark themes only if that's what you have selected. When you have light themes selected, you can make it so it'll only show light themes if that's what you're looking for. If you want a new theme, you can just click on it, install and use. I'm going to stick to the one I've got right now. You can check for updates on your themes. So if the creator has added anything new, you can update the theme and get those new features. You can change your font for the interface and also the text. When you do a code block, you can change what the font is for that. You can change what your font size is. There's the setting that allows you to be able to quickly change the font with the zoom wheel on your mouse. These are things like being able to show the title in the file. So if I turn this off, you'll see the file name is no longer showing up as if it were like a heading in the file. Turn back that on, you'll now see it's here and I can edit it. You can turn it off in the title bar, so if you didn't want that smaller version of it there that shows you the path of where this is located, you can turn that off. You can show or hide the ribbon that is on the side. So the left-hand side, we've got that ribbon. As you can see, it just disappeared when I turned that off. You can configure what icons show in that ribbon. So each of these will take you to a different place in your vault. Different plugins will show up here. You can manage what shows up in that ribbon with this manage button here. So this will control the zoom level. I have it zoomed in pretty far so that you can see it. As you can see, you can zoom way out, make things really tiny. The window frame style, I played around with this. I have no idea what it does. It doesn't seem to change anything when I do it. So you can change the icon of the app if you don't like the normal standard default icon. You can change it here. You can have a translucent window. This will make it so that anything behind Obsidian will show through in certain parts of the interface. This setting allows you to turn on and off hardware acceleration. If you turn it off, it could affect your performance. So I recommend just keeping it on. CSS snippets, you can actually, if you are tech savvy and you want to make some tweaks to the CSS of your Obsidian Vault, you can do that. You can add snippets. I'm not going to go into the details of that in this video, but that is an option if you know CSS and you want to make some tweaks. Hotkeys allows you to be able to set keyboard shortcuts to different things. So I always like having a shortcut for my templates. So I set this keyboard shortcut for inserting template. You can create keyboard shortcuts for just about everything, and you do that by just clicking that plus button and then the hotkey, so Command T. It'll tell you if something conflicts. I already have something with Command T, so I can't use that. Core plugins. So Obsidian is based on plugins, this idea of being able to extend your vault the way that you want to extend it. We've got core plugins and community plugins. Community plugins are plugins that people have built to extend the functionality of Obsidian, things that are not built into Obsidian already. I'll be covering community plugins in the future as I talk about the community plugins that I use. But the core plugins, you can turn them on and off here. Each of these, well, not each of these, but a lot of these will have their own settings menu. Once again, I'm not going to go into settings of specific plugins right now. I will go into those when I talk about those plugins in future videos. But you can turn things on and off in here. Things like if you don't want to use backlinks, you can turn those off. If you don't want to use bookmarks, turn them off. If you don't want to use Canvas, you get the idea. So that is a bit of a whirlwind tour of the settings. Now that you have an idea of what each of those settings do, you can go in and start playing around with them and set things up the way that feels best to you. This is part 2 in a series I'm doing on Obsidian for beginners. If you missed the first one, you can go ahead and click on that link on your screen right now. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the future videos in this series. Thank you so much for watching.